You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and this is episode 442, our D23 Expo reaction / recap. So this is going to be a show where we got a bunch of news that came out of D23. Some of the stuff was news, some of the stuff was not. We're going to break all that down, and what's probably going to be it's going to be a very news-heavy episode because we also got some news in the last couple days since D23 and some news that happened last night. But probably the thing that we'll anchor on is going to be the Tales of the Jedi trailer, which is very promising, if I do say so myself. And speaking of very promising, please welcome to the show, Jonesy. Jonesy, welcome. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, son?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's been a fun week, man. We got so much stuff coming out, so many pieces of news. We got a little bit of mail today. It was exciting. So, man.
Yeah, it's it's funny. I was thinking about this just earlier today. I was driving somewhere and I was thinking it felt like, with the exception of Obi-Wan Kenobi, summertime was kind of a lull. And that's normal, right? I mean, yeah. I think every summer is pretty lull in terms of Star Wars content and stuff on television and all that. It's probably to be expected. But with everything that we got coming up, and now we're rolling into phase 2 of the High Republic, all of this stuff is really about to kind of come to head. So
it feels like a flood is on the way. It's like a
tsunami is what I would
that's exactly where I was going. It feels like you can see it in the distance this time, and we're like, I'll be ready for it, but you're like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no shortage of things to discuss. So let's why don't we start with something that happened last night? Last night it was the actual red carpet premiere of the first 3 episodes of Andor. And unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I didn't get a ticket. But had I gotten a ticket, I would have tried to go. No, I'm not bitter. Because actually, there's so many cool people that we know personally. Like Maggie, who made it. She was able to attend. Our friends over at Triad of the Force were able to go there. So Gustavo made it. He's been talking to me about it. He's not giving me any spoilers. Lucasfilm, Disney, I'm telling you right now, he's been very good about it. He has not spoiled anything. But he can't stop sending me emojis and emoticons kind of wrapping up. But so far, I mean, what have you seen? The feedback has been tremendous in a way that I haven't seen in a while. Like, it's been some time since I've seen feedback this consistent. Now, people may be caught up in the euphoria of it all still, right? We understand that's always this is the case. There's the honeymoon phase of everything with Star Wars. But what's your read on it so far? Yeah,
I mean, a lot of it's from our kind of circle. So they're not really giving us a whole lot though, but they just keep saying it's great. I mean, I saw this one, I think it may have been from Dan Zare with Coffee with Kenobi. And he just said all of these things about it, which didn't really make any sense. And then it was like, but seriously, it's like really, really great. I was like, but Dan, you didn't tell me anything.
Well,
I know, but I mean, it wasn't even like anything you could grab. It was just so funny. Some people are really good at saying a lot of things and nothing coming out. And they're like, no, but seriously, it's fantastic. You're going to love it. I'm like, all right, Dan, I trust you.
Yeah. I wonder if what the NDA looked like for them. Like if they just really couldn't say anything at all. Because even to your point, like even when they have the red carpet premieres, people are still expressing some things, right? Without getting into details. But like, just to bring up Gustavo again, he's not really said a lot. And I respect the fact that I know he can't say anything. So I'm not trying to push him or anything like that, but he's been
we don't really ask.
Yeah, right. You don't ask, but I do ask, and I say, how do you feel? Like, what was it like? And that's what I'm getting. I'm getting more of the feelings of things without really any kind of substantial content or, a flavor for what exactly happened. There's no details being given. Now, that said, I will say, there was a New York Times article that came out today, and I just got around to reading it, where they interviewed Tony Gilroy. And he's kind of talking about Andor. And that is a very revealing, I wouldn't say it's spoilerish, but it's a very revealing behind the scenes look at everything that took place during Rogue One, honestly. How he was brought in, that sort of thing. all the way until he was pitching this idea or came in to kind of do this whole thing. And the way what I'm reading, if I'm reading the tea leaves here correctly, Andor sounds like there's, at least in the first 3 episodes, maybe even more, not a lot of action. Okay. Right. So people going into this, and he's pretty candid about this. People going into this thinking we're going to get Mando, or we're going to get, the Jon Favreau and, Robert Rodriguez playing with their toys episodes. We're not getting that. That's not what the show's about at all. It's actually quite the contrary. What we're going to get is a very psychological, intense thriller, right? And to the likes of, from what I'm reading again, and from the comments that I have seen from people, this really kind of breaks the mold for what we think Star Wars is, or what we've seen Star Wars be for the longest part time.
So does that idea of a slow burn excite you, or is that concerning from how people might respond to that? Or like, no, everyone calm down. We've got 12 episodes this season. That's a lot of time to take care and tell a really good, solid, well thought out story.
Yeah, that's a great question. I need to think about it, and we're going to be doing an Andor, the final hype episode here very soon, and I think we'll probably cover that particular topic, that particular question in a little bit more detail. But the way I would say it, the way I'm kind of thinking this is going to play out is, number one, Star Wars fans are going to hate it, right? Half of them are going to hate it, half are going to love it. It's too big. We keep saying this. Star Wars is too big. You can't appease everybody anymore. It's just, those days are long gone, right? So that aside, I think I would be more concerned if it wasn't somebody like Gilroy at the helm, right, of the writing. Like, you throw anybody else in there and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how this can go. But he's got a good track record with the Bourne Legacy series of stuff. The fact that he came in and did the Rogue One reshoots and script rewrites on the scripts and sort of thing. So this is in his wheelhouse. Like, this is what he loves to do. He's very passionate about this type of storytelling. I think that bodes well for Star Wars. So from that perspective, I think if people give it a chance and they stick with it and allow it to kind of burn slowly, I think it's going to end really well. And again, we'll get into the article, I think, when we talk about the final hype, because he does go into a little bit more about how he kind of sees Andor ending, which we all know leads right up into the beginning of Rogue One. So I'm to be short answer is, yeah, I'm pretty excited. I don't know how the general audience is going to act, right? The lowest common denominator of your everyday kind of Star Wars fan, are they going to really grasp this? I think the only thing they've got going for them, or actually the thing that's really going to probably grip them and probably keep them gripped, is the fact that it's Gilroy behind the writing here.
Yeah, and I think when I hear about some of the criticism from like the new Lord of the Rings series, there's a lot of comments about it being really slow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm like, but Lord of the Rings was really slow. It was like 45 hours for 3 movies. I mean, it was insane, right?
45.
Yeah, I mean, that's episode 1 of The Basement. And so it's just, sometimes that's the storytelling methodology for some, for some types of things. So sometimes that's a little bit of a concern, because like we've talked about before, modern audiences, especially younger modern audiences, have a very difficult time if it doesn't really capture you right away and you leap right back into it. I just watched the latest episode of She-Hulk today, and I really don't watch or see what the responses are to the Marvel shows and stuff, because I don't care. Do I like it or not? It's about as far as I go.
Yeah.
And I could see where I'm like, man, I don't want to look this one up, because I imagine people probably didn't like it very much, because it didn't really have anything going on for the most part. It had some humor and stuff, but it didn't really have any action, any, true, like, hilarious type of moments or anything like that. So anyway, it's always interesting to see how people respond to this stuff. But again, good visuals, good story. Do we care about the characters? Do we start to care about them really quickly? Those are the things that can pay dividends. And as you get through the series, if you stick with it, they can have huge payoffs. So
yeah,
give it time. Yeah.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think people are going to be vested in these characters. They're kind of this story seems to be written with characters first in mind, and we got some of that right in the interview from last week on whatever the exclusive clip was, and they had the BTS stuff with Gilroy and Diego Luna sitting there on that. And they were kind of talking about the same thing, right? So, but anyways, we'll spend much more time on this when we get to when we get to the final hype episode for Andor.
Right.
So, congratulations again to everybody that went out to that, and great looking costumes or outfits, whatever you guys wore. Hey, mail call. Look at that. So if you're not aware, the advanced reader copies for Path of Deceit and for Quest for the Hidden City made it to our mailboxes today. I have Jonesy showing his on screen right now. Hey, our camera's doing a really good job focusing there. And then I've got mine back here. So this is my weekend. Like I've already told everybody I know, sorry, you won't see me. I'm going away into a cave. When I come out, I'll read both of those. So pretty exciting stuff. Now, here's the thing that I've got a question for, or maybe a question to you. There's no, like, if you look on the back, the embargo date is like 9/16, but that was before, right?
And there was no letter that came with it this time. Like,
or no, 9/6 is what September 6 is what it says.
Right. Yeah. There's usually a letter that goes with it too, or kind of a one pager, and we didn't get one, so we don't really know what the embargo date is and when we can talk about these. So I'm assuming by the end of the month we'll be fine because, the thing is, these keep getting delayed though.
Yeah.
So,
and
it says Path of Deceit is October 4th and Quest for the Hidden City is 10/22. I'm pretty sure both of those dates have been pushed back a week already. So I don't know. But when it comes to anything paper oriented right now and a release date, I can't tell you when it's going to come out because it seems like nothing hits the target anymore.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to look. So, on the back of Path of Deceit, it says content under embargo until September 6th. But I think that was so I could be wrong. And I think that was before they pushed it.
Yeah, that was the original October 4th date. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because you can see it there. It says October 4th, and that is no longer the date, of course. So I don't know. It's anybody's guess. Maybe if we just do the math, how many weeks is that?
I mean, it kind of feels like the embargo would be lifted already. Like if it was a month out, and if it was, let's say, if it's October 11th now instead of the 4th, the embargo would already be lifted. So it would have to be the following week, like pushing towards the end of October before those would start to do. But I don't. We'll just have to kind of keep an eye on what the release date is, and we'll just play it by ear there and see what we got.
I'm going to go with 30 days because that's from September. What was it? September 6th through October 4th is like 30 days, almost exactly.
Yeah.
So
do they usually
keep that consistent?
Do they usually put an embargo date on the younger kids' books though?
They do on the on the paperback arcs. They do.
Oh, okay.
But and then interesting. We were just talking about this. We didn't get hard copies, which is fine. I mean, I get it. I think it's a smart thing. The fact that they've been sending us hard copies of those is kind of I don't know. I feel kind of bad, right? Because that's expensive. I know it's expensive, and I don't need that. I mean, I'm fine with the PDF. I'm just kidding. Please send me the physical copies because let's
I need the hardcover
on my shelf. But anyway, so we've got those coming down the path. And then we've got Convergence still coming later.
Yeah, Convergence is pushed all the way until basically Thanksgiving right now. So that's the first adult novel. Yeah. Still a ways away.
By the way, I ordered my Goldsboro version of that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so they do so if you've ever anybody I won't do it now. If you've we'll do it some other time. But if you order a Goldsboro version, it's the one with the sprayed edges on it from Goldsboro in England or London or whatever it is. They sent out an email to people that have pre-purchased it or have already bought a copy from them first, and then you have a certain amount. There's a certain time limit, and you can go buy it. And then later on, they opened it up to whoever. So I haven't looked. It may be open to anybody now at this point to buy Convergence, but it's got like a pinkish sprayed edges.
Wait, and who is it open to? Like if you bought it before or?
Yes, if you bought a Goldsboro edition book from them before.
I have.
You should have gotten an email that says, hey, since you bought from us, you get first pick of the litter or first shot at buying.
They were probably like, oh, you're not Albert Padilla. Retract your email.
Well, I got mine and they're gone. So I think you got to wait now until they do the public sale at this point.
Oh, okay.
So
how much was it this time?
Same price. 27 pounds or something like that. Or
so like $35 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher. And then the airmail was like 8 pounds. So that's about, $16 more to get it over here.
Okay.
So those are coming out. Hey, quickly, I personally want to mention, they announced that Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Enhanced Edition, which is the PlayStation VR 2 exclusive, I guess. Well, it's not really exclusive. It's out on Meta and a couple other ones right now. But that's the one by ILM Labs. And if you've not had a chance to play these games and you've got a PlayStation VR set, they're so good. Like, I don't know why people aren't talking about these games more. They're very short. I think that's part of the criticism. But in terms of like immersiveness and the fact that it is Star Wars and it feels like Star Wars, like I can't think of another game where I've ever felt so like, wow, I feel like I'm in Star Wars beginning to end. It's not for everybody. It can be a little cheesy and it can be a little kiddie at times, but it's so much freaking fun. I really enjoyed those games. So I'm glad they're extending this and it's now coming to the PlayStation VR2 headset. So
I have a feeling it's more that how many people have VR sets.
it's probably it. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So that should be fun.
That's why I've not played it. I don't have one. I'm not invited over to the Badia household anymore.
Nope. Party of one. What was that it? Was that everything we had on the
I think that's all the news, man. So while we're doing what do we have?
High Republic. Issue number 1, phase 2 is October 12th.
Oh, yeah, the comics.
That comic is going to be out before these books are officially out. And on top of that, if you go out to StarWars.com, you can read a couple of the first pages or some of the pages.
It's like the first 5 or 6 pages, from issue 1.
So I'm trying to think now, like I'm going to have to, we're going through this whole thing again now. Like, what's the reading order? Is it the comic? Is it, which book do I read first?
Yeah. And I don't know the characters really at all right now. So I will probably just start reading the material as it comes out and just go from there.
Yeah.
And just see what happens. Cause October 12th will be here before you know it. And I've ordered a bunch of the variants. We'll just leave it at that.
There are some pretty cool variants, man. I got to say, I saw some and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. Jonesy suckered me into the phase 2 variants and I have a stack of them now that I don't know what to do. They're so beautiful, but I'm like, no, I'm not. I can't do it. It's just.
So I told myself I wasn't going to go and do all of the exclusive variants. Like I kind of went overboard on this past time.
Control. Yep.
Well, but I went and I think it was Mike Mayhew has one.
You got to get the Mike Mayhew cover.
Oh my gosh. And the colors on it were just beautiful. And I just couldn't pass it up. I didn't get it signed though. I just got both the Virgin and the regular cover. Now, Blade, that one I might go bonkers on though.
I saw 2 of them today. They look pretty sweet.
I am so excited about the Blade. For those that aren't maybe as familiar, that's the Porter Ingle comic series. And one of the variants, he looks like he's dressed up like an, I don't know, what would you call it? Like almost like naval or army attire, like back in the Civil War, like a sword with the little shield around his hand and stuff. It's very, very proper. It is great. It's just really great. But it's a lightsaber.
Don't do it, Jonesy. You're not going to do it to me. I know you're sitting there chumming the waters trying to get me to bite. I'm not going to do it.
I'll just send you lots of pictures. This one's only $15.
I know.
It'll be fine.
$50. Next thing you know,
buy 2, get 1 free.
$200 later. Okay. I think that was all we had for news outside of the D23 stuff. What's going on with Patreon this week?
This year? Wow. Yeah. Patreon. Yeah. It's Patreon is starting to, what are we doing for Patreon on Tuesday? I've drawn a complete blank. Well, before we talk about Patreon, we do have the listener Q&A show on Sunday, this coming Sunday here in just a couple of days. If you would still like to get your question in, there is still time. cantinacast.com/question will get you to the form. We've had an influx of questions today and yesterday. So thank you everyone who has rushed in and got your questions in. We want to make sure, again, Patreon members get priority, but we usually have time to get through the majority of them, if not all of them. And if we usually at least do a speed round towards the end. So we try to hit them all, even if we don't have the opportunity to get them in a lot of detail. So please do get those in as soon as possible so we can get that organized. cantinacast.com/question. Patreon members.
You said Sunday night, right?
That's Sunday night at 9 p.m. Correct. Yeah. Okay, and it's on the website. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Good. I'm glad you'll be there. Sometimes I wonder. So it's on the website. It'll do some stuff on social media starting tomorrow. So you won't be able to miss it if you're following all of the social media and stuff like that. What are we doing next Tuesday? Next Tuesday is Final Hype. So Final
Hype. I think we're going to go right into the show reaction, and then kind of similar to what we did with some of the other Disney Plus television series, we're going to do like a breakout kind of show for our Patreon members. We'll take a particular aspect, theme, spotlight something, and just kind of dig into that to the nth degree, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then of course next Thursday we start our in-depth breakdown of each episode, and so you could expect that on Thursdays, and then on Tuesdays we'll have our spotlight episodes. That's kind of the general plan, just like we did with Obi-Wan Kenobi, like how we're saying. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. We are working on some special surprises for y'all as well. So hopefully we will hear about those soon and be able to share those. In the meantime, huge thanks to our Patreon subscribers, are now part of the tribe members, Mike, Kathy, Rob, Lauren, Dante, Risk, and Justin. And then our esteemed Rod tier, not tour. Why do I always say tour? Rod tier, the Delusions of Grandeur tier. So thank you so much to all of our Patreon members. If you are curious about Patreon, we just did a top 3 deaths in Star Wars. So it was very generically laid out there for everyone to interpret that how they wanted. And we had a really great conversation with the 5 of us. That's over on the Patreon feed as well. But you can check out all of that over at cantinacast.com/Patreon if you'd like to explore. A lot of those open up at only $2. So if you're even just curious, it doesn't cost you a whole lot to at least check it out for a month or something and see if it's something you like. But huge thanks to all of our Patreon members, regardless of the tier you're at. And of course, everyone that just listens to the show. And if you are listening, remember we do have a live stream of this every time we are live. We put out on social media as well. And you can go find all the details at cantinacast.com/YouTube.
Nicely done. Okay, without further ado, let's talk a little D23. And so there was kind of a mostly not new, some new stuff announced. I think it was only one really like brand new thing, and even then it was, kind of light. But let's quickly, Bad Batch season 3. I think we kind of teased this on the Patreon show, but officially now, Jonesy, you can rest easily because this will now be coming out here in a couple weeks. This will now be coming out January 4th, 2023, and we're going to get an 2-episode premiere.
Let me ask you a question. Was this actually announced at D23? Because when I looked at when I was following all the blogs and all of that, I didn't actually see anybody mention it. It just, I happened to find it in an article later that day, like officially announced. And then I just saw StarWars.com or maybe the social media finally, confirmed that Bad Batch would be out on the 4th. But
this is not the first time you've asked me that question. Remember, there was something that came out recently at one of these shows, and we were talking about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. They didn't say it officially, but yet everybody was kind of running with that story. This one, although they haven't said it, I mean, it was on the This Week in Star Wars.
It was, yeah, and it was on their social media as well. So we have firm confirmation that this is now a go. But
right.
I still didn't see it during the actual event.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works anymore. But yeah, so we got a while for that to kind of kick around. So that's good. So we're not going to lose any sleep over that. They showed some in-production images from Ahsoka. They were minor images. I think there was a long shot of Sabine standing in front of the mural. We'd seen that in the early trailer. Right. The more I think about this, if that is in fact how they open up the series with that what would it be? It's not a reenactment. It's like
a reimagining or
shooting, retelling, live action version.
There you go.
Of the very end there of the last episode of Rebels. I don't know if I could emotionally keep it together. Like, I think that'll probably do me in. I hate to sound like a big sap, but even when I was just standing there and I'm looking at that picture of her standing in front of it, I was getting emotional going, holy crap. I mean, it looks exactly, like that last scene, just live action. So I don't know. I'm going to be an emotional mess. I can already tell. I know I am. And
all the crew and the cast seem to be having a blast doing it, and just the excitement around being able to do it. Of course, it's all still pretty new. We're only a month or two in, but it's good to get that positive vibe from it.
They brought out Skeleton Crew again. John Watts, Chris Ford, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni were all kind of on stage, and then they brought out Jude Law, who's not only starring, I think he's an executive producer as well.
I believe so.
In this, I don't remember if they showed anything. I didn't see anything new,
and they didn't really share anything either. They showed something in the room, I believe, but there's really not been any kind of discussion about what exactly that was. So,
yep.
Again, I just kind of a retelling of what they shared at Celebration.
Okay, so let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Chillins. Yeah, that was about it. Got children in it.
Children's. That's what you were saying. Star Wars: Young Jedi Adventures. So we haven't really been talking about this one, but I figured we might as well because it's going to be here. I don't know that we're going to cover it. It all really depends on what they do. And we didn't cover like Tales of Destiny or Droids or any other of the fun stuff that's out there because we don't really believe in fun on this show. But this one, for anybody that's just curious, it's a young kids animated show. It's set in the High Republic era of the timeline. There's Yoda. I know he's kind of up front and center, along with a bunch of little young Jedi, Padawans, younglings. I think they're younglings, actually.
Right.
But they gave us this little blurb here that says, Kai Brightstar is a young Jedi youngling who hopes to grow in the ways of the Force and follow in the footsteps of Master Yoda. Nash Durango is a pilot who believes Kai and company, who befriends Kai and company, joining them on adventures across the galaxy. So we got like a synopsis of what the show is. I think the big takeaway from this was Nubs.
Right, yeah, this cute little blue thing.
This cute little blue, like it looks like an Ewok almost, like a teddy bear kind of an Ewok with the lightsaber. And I looked at him, I'm like, something that small, that blue, that hairy, that wild and crazy should not be wielding a lightsaber. Nothing good will come from that character. But I don't know. I mean, it looks fun. We'll see. It comes in 2023, so we still got a while before that comes out.
Yeah. And then we got the big stuff that came in, the heavy hitters.
Yeah, well, how did you feel? So before we get into the Mando stuff, because we won't spend a lot of time on the Mando season 3 stuff, because I don't know, there wasn't. I mean, to be fair, we had just gotten the Mando, the new trailer, right? Wasn't a couple days before D23, week before
for Mandalorian. No, we still hadn't had anything.
Season 3. Yeah. No, this footage that we saw here. This had some new pieces in there. But this is the same footage we had just seen, like on Wednesday of that week.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it get released that much earlier than the actual event.
Yeah, no, this is so this one had some new lines in there. Mostly
this is the first time Mando got released, period. Like we haven't had any Mando official release until D23. No. Oh, you mean at Disney Plus Day?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm getting confused now.
Yeah, Disney Plus Day had a trailer for Mando 3.
Yeah.
Which had all the same footage. I think this one had a couple of different more shots, but I mean, it wasn't even, in my opinion, it wasn't substantial enough for us to go, okay, let's break this whole thing down.
Right.
The only thing that was kind of interest to me anyways was at least some of the dialogue, because it did have some dialogue kind of gave some clues away here a little bit.
Right.
The Razor Wing coming into that troubled atmosphere, that I don't remember that from the Disney Day Plus. Disney Plus Day. My gosh. Maybe it's new, maybe it's not. I don't know. I think it might be an alternate scene or alternate shot, but I immediately put that in as, oh, that's them coming into the the home world there of Mandalore.
Well, I thought they were in the Gauntlet though. Well, because I thought, do we know who's in the Gauntlet when they're coming on to Mandalore?
No,
I think we just assumed it was Mando, but yeah, maybe not. The real standout in this trailer was the music. The music in this was just absolutely stellar.
Pretty cool stuff again there. Okay, now this is where my brain was getting fuzzy. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize in advance. Don't at me if I'm wrong. But the armorer says a clan of 2. She says you guys are a clan of 2. I don't remember her saying that in season 2 specifically.
I think she did. I think she did. Yeah, but in this one, it's part of at least the way that they stitched it all together is part of this longer text of you're a clan of 2, you're Mandalorian no more, and Mandalorian no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were essentially the foundling's father, that type of thing. So it was almost kind of
like a recap, right? Of like
a little bit, yeah. And then I think maybe there were a few little things in there that might have been new, but they were just more of creating more of a seamless line of dialogue, I think.
So I got a question, and maybe when we get to predictions years from now for season 3, right, whether or not they will be more than a clan of 2, because when they lead in with that, sometimes that they're signaling that they're going to expand, and I won't even pretend to try to guess who would be a part of their clan after this. Maybe it's a new character, maybe it's existing Mandalorians, somebody like Boba Fett, who knows, right? But I think if the emphasis in this season is really about a clan of 2, you would think that would have to grow, or maybe not. Maybe there again, it's just a line. But what are your thoughts on that? Would you like to see that clan grow, or his own kind of clan, not necessarily part of the Watch, but whatever he's making this new Mandalorian Order era to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, this is all from the armor's perspective. So that there's a clan of two just means that they are completely isolated from really anybody else in the Mandalorian culture, or at least what they recognize as a true Mandalore, right? And we know that Bo-Katan doesn't really acknowledge them either, because she lumps him, Din Djarin, as with the this cult, right? So
yeah, she calls him that in this trailer.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so they're just in this in between of nothingness. But are they a clan of two? Absolutely not. They've got Grief Karga. I mean, they have friends out there, right? And I think even Bo-Katan, to an extent, is an extension of that clan. So are they an actual clan of two? But no, I do believe, though, it is foreshadowing that it will not just be a clan of two, because clearly he's been able to gather support in other areas before and in other times. And so that is something that will continue to grow, especially as he goes to Mandalore and as his quest to redeem himself eventually, in our opinion at least, evolves into this more of an expansion of the redemption of Mandalore as a planet, as a culture, as a people, and try to revitalize the entire, just the entire group of people that make up Mandalorian, and try to find out what it means to be a Mandalorian in this day and age.
I really hope so, because we've been saying that was going to happen since season 1.
It's going to happen. If you say it enough times, eventually
we will will it to be
right.
so. Okay, so I think Bo-Katan probably has the most interesting line here. She says, "Your cult fractured our people." I want to talk about that here. She says, "Where were you then?" And she kind of emphasizes the word "then." So,
right.
I mean, we know the Empire ultimately did the Mandalorians in some way, right? They turned that place into, what was the line? They turned it into a glass something. And so whatever it was, I can't remember the line that was used in season 2, but we assume that it was just, they bombed the hell out of it. And I think that's pretty clear and evident based on the footage that we've seen, right?
Right.
Okay. So that said, it sounds like, although I wouldn't blame the cult or his cult for doing it, it sounds like maybe the cult is what, brought instability to the Mandalorian people, so that they were not able to defend themselves against somebody like the Empire, right? The Empire may have just seen them, took advantage of the fact that they were being splintered. Maybe this cult was really, causing all kinds of diversity and animosity among the different groups, and they came in and took advantage of that. That's kind of how I read that line. Any different take on that? Or
I think from her perspective, yeah, because I mean, we know that the Death Watch and the Watch and the the animosity with Clan Kryze and with Clan Ren and others has been there for a decade, decades at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know there's always been this rub as to what is the right path for Mandalore in general. And I think the other rub to that is when the Empire did come in, why didn't they rally together? And did they try to rally together? I think is one question that might be asked, and maybe we'll get some answers to some of that, where maybe they just abandoned everything. And they just said, that's y'all's problem. You decided to stay. We were on the moon, not our problem. Reap what you sow. You wanted the Empire, and the Empire just took it all. Now, granted, they all lose in that scenario. But I think this is something that, clearly Bo-Katan believes that. And again, when your side loses, sometimes you look for people to point the finger at, and any little cause that well, maybe that would have made a difference. Well, maybe this would have made a difference. You don't know if it would have, but it's something for you to really lash out with your grief and your anger.
Yeah. I went ahead and pulled up the video. Again, a lot of this footage we've already seen. So nothing new here, but this hallway, I think we've seen as well. The one thing right here, and maybe we saw this and I just didn't pick up on it, but his helmet's wet.
Yeah, it's raining outside.
Okay. Next question.
Because when she goes to the windows, you can see the rain on the windows.
Oh, that's right. So it looks like he's come in from that. So that last line is, "Where were you then?" I took that to kind of imply that he's come to her and is talking about, hey, we need to reunite. We need to unify the groups, together. And she's going, look, your people are the ones that put us in this mess too. And where the heck were you at when that was going on? Because it didn't sound like he was around, right? He was going on. He was probably doing his little bounty hunter thing on his own.
Yeah, but again, what's his motivation right now? And it seems like his motivation right now is still redemption in order to reclaim his right as Mandalorian. And I think Bo-Katan is just an excuse to, like, why would I help you? Why would I help you navigate all of that when all of this that you're seeing and the reason why this place is completely annihilated is because of your people anyway? And so I don't know that he's looking for help of rebuilding anything. I think he's trying to, again, it's the self-centered quest of redemption. And it seems like she's like, take that stuff right out the front door where you came.
What if they resolve that in the first 2 episodes? What if he goes on his quest while he's there, does his cleansing, if you will, and then they spend the last 6 episodes or whatever rebuilding Mandalore or trying to get it back or get it into a state, and this is where he's pleading.
Well, that's entirely possible, I think, too, because I think you and we've talked about this before. I think we agree that they're going to find something that says Mandalore is not as decimated as maybe it seems. It's not in good shape by any stretch.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's opportunity. There's something there that has some sort of quality that can be brought back to life. And so I think that's something that maybe I agree with you. It could be, if this comes a little bit later, this type of scene could say, no, I've found something. There's hope, but I need your help in order to, to rekindle that hope. And of course, Bo-Katan's not his his biggest fan anyway because of the Darksaber. So there's a lot there's a lot of tension right now between the two.
How do you feel? So do you feel like Bo-Katan's going to be in any kind of, do you feel like she's going to be in power of some sort? It may be limited and small, but do you think people are looking up to her and that's why she's sitting on a throne, or is that just an empty throne that wields no power?
Well, the way that they visualize it, it sure seems to be an empty throne without any power and of someone just trying to clinch onto something they once had. And again, I don't know, did Armor say it? But basically, Bo-Katan is basically a spoiled brat. I mean, it's kind of how it came out. It was a cautionary tale about being a spoiled brat, basically.
Yeah, and because she didn't earn anything in her mind, right? She never earned it. Right. It was just given to her.
Exactly, yeah. And so it doesn't seem like it maybe yields any real power. But again, why would she be there sulking by herself unless there was a group? Now, where is the rest of the Night Owls, right? Like, where are they? Are they still around? Are they gone? Did they die? Did they?
They're on a beer run somewhere.
Yeah, maybe so. They're just out there getting groceries.
Yep.
So I mean, it's one of those questions about what have they been doing? What were their successes? What did they do with the ship? That they stole. I mean, again, where have they been since then? And I have a feeling this type of scene will fill in a lot of that kind of that background that we've missed out on.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that was pretty much it. I mean, there was a scene in here I don't think we had seen with like Peli Motto.
Oh, it's so funny. They had an interview with Amy Sedaris on the red carpet, and she doesn't have that kind of hair, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that her? She's like straight blonde and whatever.
Oh no, it's the eyebrows. They remove her eyebrows for this episode, for these scenes. Like Peli Motto has no eyebrows, and it's the creepiest thing in the world.
Well, no, it's the hair too.
Okay, because, yeah, you're fair. Yes, the hair is horrible. I would agree.
I didn't even notice the eyebrows because of the hair.
It's a combination of many things that give her this very unique look that she has.
Right.
R2D5 is here also.
R5D4 maybe?
R5D4, jeez.
Is it real?
But we get to Babu Freak. Yeah. So anyway, again, not really there. Beyond that, I don't know that there was any.
Are these real fireworks? Or are these supposed to be explosions that just look like fireworks?
No, I think they're fireworks. I don't know what they're celebrating.
Those do look like fireworks, yeah. Maybe that's Navarro. Something. Maybe it's Navarro. They have it's like Disney World. They just have fireworks every night now to celebrate how amazing Grief Karga is.
This is the Life Day episode that's going to release in November.
Oh, it could be. You're right. This is really Wookiee playing it. Where they tore down all the trees, but they still celebrate anyway.
Yeah. They just can't give up those traditions. Okay. Let's talk more Andor.
And you thought this was going to be a 40-minute show.
Well, yeah, I did.
Ye of little faith, or of little, looking at any of the history of our other shows.
Right. Yeah, ye who does not believe in history. Okay, so let me pull up the Andor trailer.
Right, yeah. So, with Andor, not a lot of new footage, but a lot of extended dialogue might be part of it. Also, little tweaks on the dialogue, like Luthen, what he was saying to Andor. It has a lot of the same words, but it seems to be arranged slightly different. And also, like where he's saying, you'll ultimately die fighting these bastards. That wasn't how one of the trailers put it,
No,
right? It completely reshaped it. So I don't know what the actual dialogue looks like now, because I actually say two very different things, like with the two trailers that we've had.
Yeah, Luthen says, it doesn't matter what you tell me or tell yourself. You'll ultimately die fighting these bastards. Would you rather give it all at once to something real? And so that's a slight variation of what he said in the first trailer. Interesting enough, we got some names of people confirmed, I think, officially.
Vel
Sartha. Yeah, she says, we've chosen a side. We're fighting against the dark, and she comes up a little bit later.
She's talking with Mon Mothma in that case. So someone in the Senate, or someone in the political side of things.
Yeah. Deidre Miro, who is I think you were saying it's an ISB agent, or she could be ISB.
Yeah, she's one of the Imperials, right?
Or one of the Imperials, right? She says there's an organized rebel effort. Interesting that they use the word rebel, but I guess they're not using it in the context that we use it in. But there's an organized rebel effort, drill down and get a hunt started. So acknowledging that, hey, they can't, these are fissures in cracks in the dam. They can't allow this to grow and fester and solidify. Otherwise they're going to have big problems later.
Yeah. When I think about this in the context of what we've heard Andor say, they don't expect anyone like him to infiltrate their ranks. Mm-hmm. I think this is another example of that, where maybe the Empire and all of their arrogance don't believe that there is any kind of gathering storm, that there's any organization to these cells, that they're being emboldened, empowered, and they're not taking it seriously. And of course, that's how this stuff gets this traction, and it starts to gain momentum at some point too. I think these scenes though with Andor in the, when you're wearing the white suits and everything, are just becoming more and more interesting as to what the heck is he doing there and what's going on as they kind of do a breakout of sorts. It's starting to get, like, we get little tweaks, just little hints of something extra, but it's still not making a lot of sense to me.
So I'll come back to this piece here. I was thinking about that too, because I don't know what it was. It's crazy that we were thinking the same things, but I was looking at those scenes again, thinking, okay, so what's going on here? It looks like a prison kind of assignment. They're barefoot. They've all got the same thing on. We think back to the original trailers that were released. They were it looked like they were doing work, making license plates, right, for the Empire of sorts. Although it sounds like they were doing something a little bit more advanced. Maybe they acknowledged these people were very smart, very intelligent, and they wanted to put their, skills to good work, which is probably likely doing some components of the Death Star, right? You got to think that they need a lot of people to build this thing. Okay. But I wonder if Andor if he doesn't willfully get arrested for some reason, right, to get inside there, infiltrate the base or whatever it is, because I just don't see him. I can't see him being captured, because then you're talking about, like, how does he get out? I mean, I guess there's a story there of how he gets out, or maybe he's broken out of jail. But for somebody like Castaner, I think it's much more intriguing to say that he willfully allowed himself to be captured in order to gain some intelligence, gain some kind of inside data or whatever it is. And he's going to get himself out, and is very confident that he can get himself out.
Right.
So I don't know. That's just a theory I've got. But what struck me interestingly enough about Luthen in these scenes, I wasn't really sure where Luthen was fitting. I kind of starting to see him. He almost seems like a mirror of Saw Gerrera now in my mind.
Yeah, a little bit.
But with money and class and
a little more tact, I think.
More tactful, maybe a little bit more orchestrated in how he goes about things, rather than just, shoot to kill. Same kind of mentality though, because I mean, Mon Mothma, I think I've got the scene up right now. She says, you realize what you've set in motion, people will suffer. And then Luthen goes on, and again, some of these are they're like, spliced together. So they're not, this isn't a continuous dialogue here, but he has the line of, the time has come to force their hand. There was another one.
Yeah. And she's like, at what cost? And then it cuts to a completely different scene where he shouts everything.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely unrelated.
So what was your take of this exchange then?
Well, I think he's
Like whose hand are they forcing? Is this the Empire, or is this like a rebel cell, or this a potential rebel cell, or who is he actually pushing forward here?
I think he's forcing the Empire's hand to do something about this. And the minute that happens, right? I mean, and I think where he's coming from is, look, people are dying already, right? Can't stop that. It's war. Saul Guerrero says, let's call it war. Luthen says, call it what you will. They're all talking about the same thing. So they're already in a war. There's going to be casualties. Innocent people are going to die.
Right.
But I think for him, very similar to Saul Guerrero, he wants to do, like, he's trying to push change, trying to force the Empire to retaliate, expose themselves, make themselves vulnerable, whatever, cause chaos, create fear. And the minute you start doing that, to Mothma's point, there are innocent people that are even more innocent people that are going to die as a result of that. I don't think he cares. I think he's got so much money, and it's going to be interesting to see where his character goes, but I'm not sure what he does. But I mean, if he's throwing cash, splashing cash for Cassian Andor left and right, then he's got to be pretty wealthy, and somebody with a lot of power and a lot of motivation and an ideal that's similar to Saw Gerrera. I think he's pretty powerful. The other thing about Luthen, I want your thoughts on this. The other thing about Luthen is, like, I wonder how people are going to react to him, because up until now, if all that's true, or even slightly true, you've got a very new character that we've never been exposed to, that's suddenly now at the heart of the rebellion. And I don't know how people are going to take that, because I think in a lot of folks' minds, it's like, okay, the rebellion was started by Mothma and Organa and Leia and Saw Gerrera. And now Luthen's coming into this picture, and you're like, okay, well, why?
Well, that's easy. Luthen just doesn't live very long. I mean, that's the short answer. Right.
That could be it. He's out.
But again, it's never just one person. I mean, and again, you highlight a few people in general, but it takes a ton of different people to actually pull this stuff off. So there would be somebody else to. I mean, we didn't know about Saw Gerrera until Rogue One, right?
Right.
I mean, so there are people who will surface from time to time, and I think with Luthen, is he exactly like Saw? I don't know. He is willing to get his hands dirty, but he also seems to be able to play, this different type of game that Mon Mothma's not willing to. Saw Gerrera isn't willing to go and play the other. Neither one of them are willing to cross into each other's space very much. And so you have Luthen, who is definitely saying, potentially, I'm the only one who has the actual realistic view of what's going on. Like, I see it from Saw's perspective. I see it from Mon Mothma, but what we're doing isn't making any bit of difference. And we have to do something regardless of whether we're ready or not, because we're just not, like, and I think we've heard this, the Empire is starting to choke them more slowly, or they're choking them more slowly. They don't even realize it anymore.
Yeah.
They're losing a war they don't even know has started. And so it's one of those ideas and that mentality of someone has to start calling it for what it is, but is still willing to play with both sides of the team that they need, even if neither one of them really gets along and agrees on the methodology.
He does seem like he is a conduit between the extreme,
absolutely,
the war arm versus the political arm, right?
But definitely seems to be skewing more towards the empowering the Saw Gerreras to actually get down their boots on the ground and make a difference. But how do we make that a more compelling and a actual effective difference now?
Yeah, and not to get, I mean, they've talked about Andor being real, right? Okay, so if we're going to get real, like, one of the things that you cannot win a war without funding.
Right.
It just doesn't happen, right? You think about when we're at war with other countries, what's one of the first things we do? We start cutting off bank accounts, right? Cutting the supply chains off,
right?
Choking them out, letting them choke themselves out, because without money, without funding, they can't do this. And somebody like Saw Gerrera, while, I won't speak for where he's been since the Clone Wars arc and how we, up until we see him in these episodes. But he's got to be getting funding from somewhere. And if you got somebody like this guy who is like, okay, fine, if you want to try to do the political stuff, I'll support you there as much as I can. But at the same time, like you said, acknowledging that the Saw Gerreras have to exist, at least because of the war, because of the type of war that they're in, because of the amount of control and power the Galactic Empire has. The only way the change is going to come, it's not going to come from the Senate, because they control the Senate. So it's got to be the Saw Gerreras, right? And as extreme as their measures may be, he acknowledges that that's just what has to happen. And if Saw Gerrera needs funding, then I can be that, financial background for and the financial backing for him.
Right. And I think what we're going to see, though, is, I mean, unfortunately, what goes along with money, people, and lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mon Mothma's not wrong. I mean, we're going to see, I think, considerable loss in this series, not just from, Cassian Andor and his family, but I think from the villages that he's been in, his people, other parts of the empire that are subjugated and subjected to this tyranny. And so we're going to see retaliation from the empire, and they're not going to care who they hurt. And that's the thing that's going to create more conflict between someone like Luthen Rael and Mon Mothma, and potentially with Saw Gerrera too, in between all the different factions. So it can get really messy really quick as they start to manifest what this rebellion will actually look like, because we know even when we get to Rogue One, they still can't decide and agree on an actual path forward, right?
Yeah, right.
So I mean, we know things only got so good, and when we see what happened in Rebels and when we see what happened in Rogue One, so we know things are going to be very, very difficult here, and there's going to be a lot of stops and starts, and a whole lot of arguing. And loss.
There's I've got an image up right now, and in the subtitles it had her listed as Bix Kayleen. And her quick line is, "Let's take them by surprise." Somebody that's empowering. I think there were some, we haven't talked about this. There were actually 3 pieces of footage that were released as well in the past week. They were all, I think, on ABC, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. They were like one of them was like a football, like one of the football games had an exclusive clip that was pretty lengthy, and it had her in there. And the way I would summarize this is Cassian Andor is going to her and saying, "Look, I've got this equipment. I need to sell it. Who do you know somebody?" And she's saying, "Yeah, there's going to be a cruiser coming in next week, and you can sell it then," kind of thing. And he's like, "No, I got to sell this thing now." And so it sounds like it's very, very early on. But
is this the device he's trying to sell to Luthen?
Yeah, to Luthen. Right. It's that same box.
Okay.
So I don't know where she fits. I mean, it sounds like she's going to be part of. I mean, we see her later on working alongside Cassian Andor, so she is in on the fight, on the good fight, if you will. One of the good guys. Here's the other one that was interesting, though, was this Marva Andor.
Yeah, is this mom?
I guess.
Or Auntie Andor?
I wasn't expecting that. I was like, wait, what? I rewound it just to make sure. Like, am I crazy here? Because they showed her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we've got her name just yet.
I don't think we have either.
This is, I think we were saying, oh, it's Cassian Andor's girlfriend, sister, somebody like that. But yeah, right there. The old lady that we've seen in the other clips, I think she ends the last clip about a rebellion. She makes a comment about this is where rebellion starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says people are standing up, and it's her words coming out of her mouth, and it says Marva Andor. So maybe it's his mom.
So, or Auntie Andor, I like that one too.
Maybe it's a second cousin or something. Like she married into the family.
Second cousin twice removed.
Twice removed. Let's see. Andor says they're afraid. Right now, they're afraid. Talking about the Empire, which is cool. I love the fact that he's scaring people.
Are we sure that this is the Empire that's afraid? I mean, I think it's the people are going to be afraid too.
I don't know. Maybe.
I can see where the Empire would be confused, but maybe not necessarily afraid.
But what if they were? That's pretty powerful.
It could be.
She looks scared.
Yeah, she's not. I don't think she's scared. She's realistic.
She looks mad.
Yeah, she's angry. Yeah,
she's crazy. She's gonna be crazy. Just know it.
Throwing switches. All right.
Yeah. When in doubt, flip the switch in Star Wars.
Right.
There was a quick line right there where you got to see Vel Sartha, who we talked about at the very beginning. Looks like there's that's an Imperial person. That's the same guy I think that we saw earlier. You can see his insignia down here.
Yep.
But she's yelling at him, so I don't know if she's got him hostage. It's a prison break. Something's going on.
She's like wielding a shotgun.
Yeah, she's a good guy. He's a bad guy. So good guys are winning, at least in this particular scene. And then Andor, in this infamous scene that we've seen before so many times now that still has me puzzled as to what in the world is going on. It says, "Hang on."
Yep, definitely someone on board.
Somebody else is there. Yeah, that or he's talking to himself. I don't know, or maybe he's talking to a droid. Could be that. What's his? Is it E2 Emo? I can't remember the name of the red droid now. The little salvage droid that's going to be his right hand man.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think they announced that too at D23, or at least we got the name officially. And that's kind of how it ends. I mean, there wasn't, again, not a lot of new footage, but mostly new dialogue. A lot of new dialogue, which was kind of cool to see.
Okay.
All right. Any final thoughts while I load up this?
No, again, I think with Andor, it's looking. I just can't wait to get this thing started. And again, hearing that there's positive feedback coming out right now, just I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the 3-episode premiere. Was there any comments about how long the episodes were, or how long the three issues were?
Yes. I didn't write them down, so excuse my memory. But the first one I want to say was 39 minutes. The second was 35. And the third one was 43. Like that.
Still all over the place. But so still around 35 to 40 minutes or something.
More than 30, less than 45 so far.
So it was about like what we have with Obi-Wan. I think Obi-Wan's were in that same ballpark.
Which is good. I mean, we got 12 episodes, so.
Yeah, I think that works. I think it'll be
plenty of time. Now, if they'd said it was 6 episodes and that's all, I'd be really mad. Okay, let's talk about Tales of the Jedi. What are your initial thoughts, just really quickly?
Dude, this trailer got me super amped up for Tales of the Jedi. I think this is the thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure they only showed us like 2 stories out of the 6.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it, man. I'm all about this. I'm super excited about seeing Ahsoka apparently in a wide range of ages and very different situations the way we've seen her. And then, oh my goodness, 5 words: Count Dooku, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a retelling of Dooku Jedi Lost in some capacity, because it's treading over Dooku Jedi Lost. So I'm wondering if we're going to get enhancing of that material, or maybe a little bit of tweaking of Dooku's origins of leaving the Order.
Yeah, and I'd be okay with that. I mean, well.
Would you?
No, probably not.
It's not old enough. It's not old enough, I think, for it to be rewritten. Well,
and I really like Dooku Jedi Lost. Like it all kind of made sense to me. So yeah, that would be hard. That would be a hard pill to swallow if they diverted too far from the original material.
And we'll talk a little bit why we kind of
are
curious about that as we get through the trailer. But no, I like where this is headed, though. Absolutely, the animation, the way that they've refined that Clone Wars look, that Rebels look, I think is working for me. It still retains that, still that characterization of it, but it's its own. It's more it continues to just modernize itself, and really digging it.
But we open up on what I'm assuming is Ahsoka's homeworld. We've got somebody named Pav T saying everywhere there's life, but you must face death. Which it then cuts to this scene here, which I'm assuming is Padme's death. It's all kind of part of that same shot.
It looks like her funeral, yeah.
Yeah, her funeral. Sorry, not her death, but her funeral, right. And later on, not to jump ahead, but later on, there's a shot of Ahsoka wearing a cloak. And at first I was thinking, I wonder where she's at. And I was like, wait a minute. I guess she would have attended the funeral. But in disguise.
I guess she could have, yeah.
Yeah. Like she wouldn't have made her face publicly known because she was already exiled at that point.
That would have been pretty risky, though, of her to do that.
It would have been super risky. I would agree. But anyways, so so we've got definitely Padme's funeral. This is Dooku in the infamous courtyard of the Jedi Temple. We've seen this tree, I don't know, countless times now in comics. It's been in some of the other episodes in Clone Wars.
Right.
But very cool that he's in front of it. So still part of the Order.
And he's got his beard. So this is towards the end of his days in the Order, but still there.
Yeah, but still there. And then we've got the
saber-tooth tiger, and Ahsoka presumably calms it and doesn't get eaten. And she rides it home.
That was a key part. She's like actually riding it home. So then we've got Gantika saying Jedi, Ahsoka is Jedi. And this is where they're identifying her. They acknowledge that, okay, there's something special about Ahsoka.
Yeah, Gantika seems to be like potentially the either grandmother or like a shaman of the people. The
elder of some sort.
Exactly, yeah.
Is this her dad? Like that's clearly her mom.
I'm assuming those are her parents.
The markings would give it away. They're very similar to her markings.
Yeah, for the mother at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just assumed they were her parents.
Okay. Very cool. No, I like it. And I love the fact that they've got the face paint on their foreheads. That's a very common tradition, even in real life here, where they anoint people on the foreheads with certain markings, or ash for Ash Wednesday. Tribes do it. There's a couple of different ceremonies out there where you
Simba.
Simba, kind of same thing. So yeah, that's her parents. Look how cute she is. And then we get this scene, and we can kind of just
we can kind of summarize
about all of these. But I guess this is Anakin's way of training her. And I guess the question for you was, like, where does this take place? And do you at all, as they keep cutting back to these sequences, do you feel like it ever gets a little too intense? Like, is he pushing a little too far, too hard? I mean, they're stunned, so
I think
no risk.
Think about it from Anakin's perspective, especially if this is really early on. And it's difficult to tell because in the Clone Wars animation, you could tell how young she was. Here, how smooth they don't have as much angular parts of the
features.
Face. Yeah. And so everybody looks a little bit older, oddly enough.
She looks older to me.
Yeah. And so I would, again, we know that this is a training montage of sorts. So maybe you're going to get dissatisfied that you didn't get in the last.
Well, there's no 80s music, but.
Well, you got to take what you can get with Star Wars, win some, you lose some. But I think with this one, though, with Anakin, I think it's important for him to push her. One, he's still getting used to being a master, but at the same time, he is now responsible for her. And the one thing that he can do is to make sure that she can fend for himself, because he can't, and maybe won't early on, take that responsibility entirely of like, I can't take care of you and fight a war at the same time.
No,
I really need you to be able to do this, and I'm going to drill you hard. And you have to drill. I mean, this is what they do in the military too. And unfortunately, this is the situation that Palpatine has, placed everyone in by militarizing the Jedi. And now the younglings, or maybe not the younglings, but the Padawans are now going to be part of the war effort. They're going to be commanders on the battlefield. They have to be able to take care of themselves. They have to be able to take care of the people around them too. And so that he's hard on her.
Look at you waxing brotherhood. Go on, though.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be surprising, I guess, in that kind of way, right?
No, I'm just kidding.
She's got a lot of responsibility. And actually, what I'm most excited about is they brought back like the pointy lightsabers rather than the dull lightsabers. Yeah, the dull lightsabers we see.
He says, just to kind of reemphasize what you're saying here, he says the best way I can protect you is to teach you how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So not coming from a point, not coming from an angle of, hey, I'm abandoning you, or I don't want to train you. It's just like you said, he's got a lot going on, and what better way?
Yeah, and so he lines up. It looks like a handful of clone troopers and put in a circle. And she's only got one lightsaber in this scene. We see later on she's got two.
Two, yeah.
So again, clearly she's progressing, and we'll see some of that.
Oh, so I had fun with this one. So we've got one of the counselor ships, the Jedi counselor ships coming in that we've seen at the very end of Rebels. We know this is kind of their main shuttle as opposed to like their fighters. But is this the one that's heading to pick up Ahsoka? Or is this something that Count Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn were flying around in?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'll go with Dooku and Qui-Gon.
Okay, I'll go with the first one so we can say we're right.
All right, cool.
But yeah, I think this is Ahsoka.
Well, unless it's somebody else completely. This shot is from neither of those episodes.
Yeah, and that's when we say, "Oh no, we corrected ourselves in the Patreon episode that we did right after that." So
that's right.
You probably didn't see it because
it was at the $50 tier. No one listened to it.
No one listened to that one, but we did call it. It's either way. I think it's interesting. I'd love to see Qui-Gon Jinn and Dooku flying around this thing, or get to see that moment when. Like, what is that like for her parents? I mean, if you get a sense that her parents are very loving, they like the whole village loves her, cares for her. They don't look like bad people or anything. And then yet they're going to make this decision to give her up at that early age, or at a very early age. And I mean, are we going to witness them getting their hearts ripped out as the ship flies away?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, Dave Filoni.
Well, you can always expect Dave to deliver the goods on upsetting you.
Yep. And then on the reverse of all this, did you notice that they have the IG-88 droids heads in the cantina?
Yeah, they do this over at Galaxy's Edge too. Those are the tap handles.
Yeah. Well, you remember Do you remember what was it, episode 4, when
Mm-hmm.
they built the cantina, they repurposed those heads because they needed something that looked like that shape. And
Yep.
I love that they've extended it now to other stuff as well. Like that's just how it is. Looks very similar, but it's not.
And we get a much younger Dooku here with a very young Qui-Gon Jinn. Well, not very young, but a young man Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in like around 15, 16 years old, maybe.
I'd maybe go 17, 18, something like that.
All right, I'll take it. More training. Ahsoka's using the.
Told you, man. Training montage.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, let's talk about this whole Dooku thing. So the way I envision what's going on here, it looks like someone reached out to the Jedi Order and said, "Hey, we need help defending ourselves." And then you've got Dooku coming in saying, "Oh, I want to bring peace and order," which I think is a lie. And I think Qui-Gon picks up on that. I don't know if it's this scene here. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is when the villager. Yeah, this seems to all be related here.
Yeah. But it looks like I don't know who these guys are. They could be in the right for all we know. But it looks like Dooku's just trying to pick a fight for whatever reason. I don't know what the motives are just yet. But this whole thing about wanting to bring peace and order, that's a lie. It sounds like he's definitely in for a fight. I mean, he pulls out his lightsaber, he starts force choking, and this makes Qui-Gon look very uncomfortable, and we get to see that firsthand.
Well, we've got the town all armed and pointing, guns at these soldiers as well. So clearly not wanting to leave whatever it is they're wanting to kick them out of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Qui-Gon is not pulling his blade, and he's looking very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, assuming these shots are linked, the minute right after Dooku pulls out his lightsaber here, I mean, we cut to Qui-Gon, look at him like, "Whoa, wait, what are you doing? Like, this is not what we talked about," kind of thing,
Right.
Or knowing maybe that, look, if my master pulls out his lightsaber, he's going to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you won't pull it out for.
Yeah, you won't win this fight.
Yeah, true.
For those not aware, Dooku has a blue lightsaber.
Yeah, here we go. They're about to fight, and then he starts screaming, "Master, stop!"
Yeah, so Dooku force choking the general, the leader here of the group.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
how about that?
Yeah, this is the crazy part.
Jerk move.
Qui-Gon does have his lightsaber lit in this moment, but clearly Qui-Gon or Dooku's pushing things a little too far and shoves Qui-Gon all the way back against this building. I mean, that's incredible. And again, this is some of the moments that we, going back, we may have to revisit Dooku Jedi Lost when this comes out and see how they combine. But you can tell that he's still force choking the leader of this little infantry squad while he pushes back Qui-Gon.
Yeah, he's still buckled over. You can see him there.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Something clearly has pissed Dooku off.
Well, I think it's interesting that Qui-Gon has pulled his saber. So do you think he pulled it because in defense of himself, because these guys started opening fire, were about to? Did he just follow his master's lead? Or, and I know this seems far-fetched and this would be really crazy, but what if he
pulled it in a threatening way?
Yeah, to stop him in some way.
I think there's a great possibility with that, I think.
Because that to me feels like this would be much later on. Like this had to be like right before he leaves.
Well, but he doesn't have a beard.
True, he doesn't have a beard yet. I don't.
Yeah,
maybe he's like you and grows it in like 2 days.
Not quite, but yeah, I mean, so I think that's a takeaway of some of these shorts is that they're going to cover a lot of ground, a lot of years in a short episode. We don't really know how long these episodes are, but they're going to cover a lot of ground. So it's going to be interesting what that pace looks like.
He leaves again. It's hard to tell. This is before or after. I'm assuming this is before he goes in to talk to the elder. Like they may have some kind of a conversation right outside there before they go in. But he says it is the only way you will truly have victory, my Padawan. And I'm assuming he's talking about war. Like the only way you can win
is showing excessive strength or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Again, you got a picture of a young Liam Neeson looking very confused here.
It's not Liam Neeson with the voice, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, just to be clear.
So I know it's early, and I don't want to be a downer. I did not like Dooku's voice.
It's the same. Oh, it's not the same. Who did they? I want to see who they used for it. He spoke very slowly. like almost too slowly. It was very different than the Dooku we got in Clone Wars, but we'll see. You know, we'll have to see when we get the final product and how that works. But
What's
then
his name?
we're
Adam.
missing some context.
Who was the guy that played Snape?
Snape.
Alan Rickman.
Alan
He sounds like
Rickman.
Alan Rickman to me.
Yeah, well, that's not always a bad thing.
Well, I don't mind Alan Rickman, but he's just got, it just doesn't sound like Dooku. I don't know what it is. Okay, but I'm not going to harp on that. It's fine. This makes up for it. I mean, the animation and the stories we're getting, I can look past all that.
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah, so here we do a little flash forward because we've got bearded Dooku with Mace Windu now.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? Like, I can't wait to see this.
I would have wet myself if I had these two particular Jedi drawing their lightsabers on me. I would have been like, nope, okay, we're cool.
Yeah.
We're cool.
Well, it's just the idea of both of them. Like, Windu is known for being the most, the best lightsaber or swordsman that the Jedi Council had at the time. But Dooku was before he left. But now you have both of them using their lightsabers, and you get to see a little bit of what Dooku's, capable of doing. I imagine we're going to get the same thing for Windu, but I hope this segment is long because I want to see both of them in action together and working side by side, for the right reasons, because they're both brilliant fighters. I mean, I just can't wait to see it. It's pretty powerful looking.
Yep.
Yeah, we get a shot. There's more of Ahsoka's training, and she finally gets zapped. And
that's a different scene, though.
Oh, you think it's different?
Yeah, because again, she's only got one. So yeah, the other one's obviously much later.
So they're fighting. So going back to we're kind of fast forwarding now. Going back to the Dooku Windu matchup against somebody. This is part of that scene. It looks like these droids pop up, but I can't help but look at these helmets and think of Bane from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like I even went back and looked at it, and I thought, okay, if you look at them, they look like old skeletons. They look like antique type armor or droids of some sort. So I'm wondering if these are going to be, quote, Old Republic era droids of some sort.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, what's really interesting, this planet, I mean, it's very green, very lush. There's flowers, sunlight coming through the trees. I mean, it's very beautiful. So it's kind of an interesting place to have a battle.
They look like skeletons, though.
They do. Yeah, I mean, because, they have like no torso, but they've got shoulder pads and very wiry framed for, pelvis and legs.
Yeah. So my headcanon says these are droids that served under Bane at some point. Okay.
That would make them thousands of years old.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you down.
Hey, it happens in the Old Republic in the video game.
Not
canon. So why not? Happens a lot, actually. These droids are like somehow lived, like, and I get it. They're so old. They're like thousands and thousands of years, and they fire up and their power cores are just fine. No problem.
Right.
But yeah, we get Dooku showing off, force pushing. Look at that.
Yep.
That sly little block behind his back there.
Well, what's cool is like Windu does his little, crouch and extends both arms out.
Yeah.
Kind of like what he did in the original Clone Wars series, and he did it in one of the deleted
he did it in the
scenes
Clone Wars too.
Clone Wars too, yeah.
Yeah. And then this is kind of the turning moment, right? Everything's really cool. Everybody's having fun.
Too far.
And Dooku went too far.
Well, he hasn't yet. It seems like he did stop himself. But Windu is clearly upset with him and concerned.
Tells him to stand down, and then we get this crushing look of
this
Dooku.
Is the one. I think this is the scene, like this one particular scene is the one that I'm most interested in of what is going on. Like Dooku just looks so sad. And so what is it that's gotten him? Is he just got a heavy, burden on his shoulders? He's trying to make his decision whether to leave or not or what. But this is a really interesting, still we've got right here. Great job with the animation, though.
I mean, apart from, I'm trying to think like what would bring him down. Like apart from Qui-Gon or Jenza, his sister.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the only things that really, I feel like he ever really got truly emotional over. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be something there. I mean, we know he's very much attached to his family.
Well, to his sister he is, yeah.
To his sister, sure. Yeah. Not everybody else. Everybody else he could care less about.
It'd be interesting if like there is anything with Serrano though, or Sereno rather. I don't I'm curious if that will come up at all. And this is why I'm really curious how much overlay there would be with Dooku Jedi Lost, if any. I mean, this could all happen, and he doesn't leave the order. But that seems less likely, but
yeah,
we'll see.
We're getting into some really quick shots here, but there's the baby Ahsoka riding the saber-tooth tiger.
Riding Battle Cat.
Yeah. Battle Cat. Good one. Deep cut.
Bail Organa.
Bail Organa, because, I mean, like, why not? I mean, he's in everything now.
Right. Again,
any guesses as to why he's here?
I'm guessing this is probably more Ahsoka. So something with the Ahsoka series. Again, we seem to only be getting two
episodes.
Stories here, yeah.
Until the very end, though. Oh, yeah, like, these are so fast. There's a bar scene.
And here's, like you said, here's Ahsoka with her cowl up.
I can't even stop it. It's so quick. They show it for a brief second.
There you go.
See, and this person's got a candle.
Okay, yeah. So maybe this is the morning for, or the period of mourning for Amidala then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it makes sense that she would attend. But
yeah,
right,
I didn't know if this was. Yeah, I didn't know if this was something else because she does look a little bit older here. If it was, when she's after all this stuff, but.
Well, and that's what I thought too. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh wow, this is like this is her like just pre gray Ahsoka kind of thing." But but no, I think it is a funeral.
I think you're right.
So here, well, no, there you go. I didn't catch that.
But again, yeah, Dooku and Qui-Gon both battling with their lightsabers, deflecting laser bolts.
Yeah.
So again, still both of them doing something together. So again, when does he shove Qui-Gon back?
It's got to be either after this or whatever, but it could be that he just had his lightsaber out. It wasn't necessarily. Well, no, that could still be true. He could have ever had it out defending himself, and then when he made a move to try to stop Dooku in some way, that's when Dooku pushed him back.
Maybe so. And now when they start shooting, Qui-Gon does get re-engaged. Maybe too. Yeah.
Maybe that could happen. We got all kinds of theories here.
Yeah.
None of them are going to come true. Ahsoka says, "I'm tired of fighting."
Yeah, I think that's going to be to Anakin. She's tired of the training.
Oh. See. Okay. I'll take it.
Go for it. Oh, I thought you saw something. Again, this is very young Ahsoka. Look how short she is.
Yeah. See, I'm tired of training.
I'm tired of fighting. Yeah.
I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of training. I'm tired of doing the show. I'm tired of fighting. There's something about this scene. Hold on. Let's keep playing. Keep playing. All right. There we go. So somebody's in a casket here. Is this the continuation of Padme?
I don't know, because is that Dooku? Right in the middle?
That's Dooku. That can't be it.
And Ceci 10 and Loden Greatstorm.
No, Terrace Nube.
Oh yeah, whatever. Same difference. They look alike. No, on the far left is a Twi'lek.
Oh yeah, it's Loden Greatstorm.
It's Loden Greatstorm. He's really still alive. Yeah, so it's like who died? Is it another Jedi? I mean, it seems like it would be another Jedi.
It looks like a Jedi because everybody that's here in attendance, and then right here you got like Mace Windu. I don't know who these people are.
I don't know. Oh snap! Do you think this might be Yaddle? I mean, that's a really long coffin for Yaddle.
Well, then Dooku killed her.
Now there's a lot of speculation that he might be the one that offed her.
That son of a gun.
Yeah.
We see that battle here in a little bit. Okay, so here's this scene. So I don't think this is related to the first two episodes. Okay. I mean, it could be. But you remember the... you
mean with the Inquisitor here?
Yeah. They have an Inquisitor. He's got a double-bladed lightsaber, and we know that Ahsoka ends up taking those crystals and purifying them.
Yeah. So are they going to visualize the Ahsoka novel and canonize any of that?
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing there, honestly. I really do.
Yeah. And again, I mean, yeah, so the Inquisitor's got a prisoner behind him and everything's on fire. So, I mean, this could be a bit of a reimagining of the book. I think, again, may have to review that if that turns out to be the case. But again, we know this is going to cover a wide span of time. So does this start to cover Ahsoka post Order 66, but pre-Rebels and pre-Rebellion and Fulcrum?
6 stories. I forget the breakdown. I think we may have covered it. I think they had told us it was going to be X amount of episodes about this person and this person. And
yeah.
But I want to say she had like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
At least.
But again, yeah, this Inquisitor though is pretty tough looking.
Oh, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's very like bird of prey, crow kind of look to him, like scarecrow kind of look.
It's almost like Khonshu.
Yeah. Khonshu, it's exactly it. So here we go. So this is where I'm like, you better get your hands off her, man. This is
Yeah, Dooku and Yaddle, and again, he looks disappointed, like to the point where it's like, I'm sorry you made that choice, or maybe she caught him in something. And
right. That's what I'm thinking.
And he's slashing walls and stuff. So this is a legit fight. This isn't training. It doesn't appear.
Right. No, they're not pulling lightsabers by any means.
Yeah, and she does not look pleased with young Dooku and his arrogance.
I love the fact that she's employing the same fighting techniques that Yoda does too. So it must be like either species specific, or maybe they trained under the same master of their species, or that fighting style is unique to their species in some way.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, she's jumping around like a hot potato. Look at that thing. She like spins around like a pirouette.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's going to be a cool fight. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, the context is what's really going to be striking about it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so we got a ship going into Coruscant. Not really sure what that is. That kind of looks like that industrial district that Palpatine likes to hang out at.
Yeah, I imagine that's Dooku's ship going to see him.
It might be, yeah. And again, we're potentially playing with some lines here, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh, you mean the fact that he's with that he's in cahoots with Palpatine already?
Yeah, I mean, again, unless this is really later on, but I mean, if this is something that is around the same time of him leaving the Order or potentially leaving the Order, it didn't sound like he wasn't really talking with Palpatine yet. He wasn't really a bad guy. He left the Order because he got pissed that the Republic and the Jedi only want to help Sereno whenever it's advantageous to them when they find a resource.
Mm-hmm.
Although he had already touched the dark side and clearly made a lot of choices, but in the audiobook, though, in the audio drama, that was the decision point for him to leave.
Yeah, right. And then Palpatine took advantage of the fact that he had a lot of power, had a lot of wealth, and just happened to hate the Jedi for what they did in the Republic. And so he swooped in and said, "Look, I can give you what no one else has been able to."
Right.
Possible.
Which I would like to think means that he failed at revitalizing Sereno, but that would just be my headcanon.
Yeah. It kind of finishes with more quick shots of just some of the previous battles. And we get to see Windu pull a blaster out of somebody's hand. More threatening poses by Count Dooku with his lightsaber. It finally ends with the Inquisitor saying, "And who might you be?" Dang, this mask is very cool looking. He's got the Imperial logo on his sleeve there too, which is neat.
It does. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think this might be something of that scene. But yeah, red eyes as well. Mm-hmm. Just a really cool look. And so she's all like, "I'm Ahsoka." You know what?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of what she looks like.
And what have you done to those lightsaber blades or those kyber crystals?
That's right. They won't stop singing to me.
Because when she purifies those, I'm trying to remember. I need to go back and read that now. I remember she was fighting an Inquisitor.
Yeah, she destroys his lightsaber.
Yeah, and it was somebody with a double bladed too, if I remember correctly.
I believe so. And again, if you look at her clothes, and it's difficult to see too much of it, but
oh yeah, you're right.
These are very like common person type of clothes, like
which is what she was wearing.
Yeah, someone who would want to blend in and not be found.
Yep. That's gonna be awesome. Like even if we got to see, like, I would kill to see that purification process.
I would just like to see this fight scene, but yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Well, if they were to do it, I hope they do it right. I hope it's not cheesy.
Yeah, I mean, you think, and then pair that up with the bleeding of the crystals that we got from the Vader comic, right? Seeing something like the opposite of that, but in animation format, I think would be really cool.
And the other question is, like, how are they going to stitch all this together? I mean, how do you make a seamless story when you're covering? I mean, with Dooku, it appears like they're covering about 10 years of time. With Ahsoka, gosh, they're covering 20 years of time effectively. Although we don't expect a lot of super young age Ahsoka for a while. It seems like it'll focus more on her Padawan and then not quite knighthood. So not a huge time frame there. But it's kind of interesting how they're going to push all of this together with so many years in between with these stories and be able to get enough out of them. So very curious what the composition of that will all look like.
Yeah, it feels like they are going to be kind of standalone episodes, like telling a single tale within that 15.
Sure.
Well, I don't know how long it's going to be. God, I hope these are not 6-minute long. I'd be so mad. Like, especially now that I've seen this.
I think you could probably still get away with like 8 to 10, but I'm with you. I'm hoping this is like 12 to 15, pushing 20, but that's not really short in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling short is less than 10 minutes.
But I mean, if this, to me, this feels like this is one episode, right? You know,
yeah, I think
the
so.
Inquisitor coming in, threatening people. She responds. They have the fight. She purifies. End of the episode. We get we get to see her take down an Inquisitor, and we now get the origin of how she created her, white lightsaber blades.
Yeah.
So, and it probably doesn't tie into any of the other ones, right? It's just kind of like a single standalone episode. That's just, it's almost like the, from a certain point of view, right? These kind of anthology books, or they're just little stories.
But these two shots, man, the one with the Inquisitor with the flames behind him and pulling the blade to the guy's head, and then the flames behind her. I mean, it's just striking. Absolutely striking. Love it.
So, anyways, that's how that one ends.
Again,
Tales of the Jedi.
Hugely pleasant surprise on Tales of the Jedi. I was thinking these were going to be a bit more of a throwaway type of episodes or something to appease the YouTube Shorts kind of crowd, but this appears to be a little bit more than that, a bit better than that, and a lot of thought and time taken into crafting something of a story. So I'm really curious to see how these work out. And the good news is we don't have to wait that long. We only need to wait about a little less than a month and a half, October 26th. And all of them stream on the same day. So
yeah,
you don't have to wait, which is great because Andor will still be going on.
Andor's going to be still going on. So we'll have to break in and do, we'll kind of break down all of those at the same time.
We're changing the show to like a 5-day-a-week podcast.
Yeah, there you go. 2 hours every day.
Oh gosh.
So, all right. Well, that's, that was all we had. That's enough. D23. See, I told you we were going to be under 45 minutes.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Everybody just looked at their clock right now and were like, this guy does not know math.
Yeah, I don't know math.
And can't tell time.
How
go ahead.
I guess overall, how would you rate D23 this year?
For Star Wars, I give it like a B plus, or maybe like BB plus, something like that. Again, a lot of things we knew would kind of be there likely, but there was still no real video game presence at all. I mean, we didn't get really anything that we expected on the video game front. I mean, Marvel had a little bit of stuff, I guess, in that realm, but I mean, we did get more interviews and things like that. So if you were there, I'm sure it was worth it, and there was some good stuff, and you got to see a lot of visuals that we haven't been able to see either. So from that respect, it was probably pretty good. But I think compared to what Star Wars was like, 3 years ago when they had D23, I mean, that was a pretty lame duck. So
yeah.
And Disney Plus Day, again, it delivered much better than in some ways, but again, it's still like a BB plus type of thing too. But what we got was really good though. I think they definitely do a great job at making trailers, and we're getting a lot of high quality trailers that get people excited, and that's what they're designed to do. And they don't have really anything else to share, so I mean, it makes sense. But again, no movies. So what the heck? What's going on with the movie front? It's just completely silent.
Well, and not only silent, I mean, we had some movement, I guess today. They officially removed on this Rogue Squadron from the schedule. And I know people are, screaming doom and peril because there's no longer any movies now on the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Which I think is disappointing. It is, especially since I went back and watched the Patty Jenkins video again today, as a matter of fact, just to kind of see like what was being said here. And it felt like it was a done deal. Like this was definitely coming out 2023 as she promised. And they pulled back. And I know the people that hate Disney and Lucasfilm, my goodness, you could not have fed them any more red meat. I mean, they are just
chum in the water.
Chum in the water. They're kicking back and I told you so, blah, 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 blah. And while I would agree, it is disappointing. I
also don't want junk. I mean, so if it means taking something off that either A, wasn't working, B, wouldn't have worked out in the amount of time that they had, and things weren't coming together, take it off, and do that. And this is always the risk, though, with announcing things really early on. Now, granted, I don't give them a lot of flexibility here because we see Marvel do this, and they actually deliver on those schedules pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So why does Star Wars seem to have such a hard time doing this?
Yeah.
But I will say this, though, on the TV series front and what we're doing there, I think we're gaining some momentum. I think we're doing pretty well. I'm okay with how that's looking and how that's playing out. The quality of the content we're getting, I think, is everything from good enough to really good. And so I think there's something built there that you don't have to always have the movie. But I granted, we also know that's what sells the big bucks too, right? That's what gets people. That's what everybody weighs Disney off of for the most part. I think also that's a bit of a legacy view, and that's changing a little bit. And I think people are still trying to adjust and figure out what that actually means. But not have a true cinematic saga of sorts in Star Wars, I mean, I'll admit it does feel a little bit wrong. It feels weird. It feels like there's a huge gap.
We should we need to revisit this topic, and maybe we do that for Patreon here very soon. But I would like to talk more about that because I was talking to some folks today on the Fan Force group that we have here in Austin. It's a Facebook group for Star Wars fans, and we were just talking about how many things have been crossed off, and we were anecdotally talking about this without actually looking at what was announced back in was it D23 back in 2020?
Yeah, 2019.
Might have been 2019. Yeah,
it was before the pandemic. Yeah,
right. And so we were where was I going? Oh, so yeah, we were talking about, man, all this stuff's been canceled. Well, then I pulled up the map. I pulled up the image of Kathleen Kennedy standing there with everything behind her, and when you really look at it, there hasn't been much that's been canceled.
No,
I mean, there was some stuff that was announced, teased. It was for investors at that time. It wasn't D23; it was the investor call. Now I say that because I remember her specifically talking to the investors. But yeah, it feels more impactful than I think it is. So I don't know. It might be worth talking about. I think we've done a show on that. Didn't we do a show on like the future of Star Wars and how we felt about it at the time, like a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while. So it might be time to revisit that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got some new thoughts and some maybe new perspectives on things.
And again, I think it's even worth the time of saying, okay, if we mapped out the last, 2-3 years and we just blocked the calendar with when we had content, how many gaps were there truly? And then if you look at it now, how many gaps really are there now? And especially when you start overlaying books and like the High Republic in there too, because I think you can't take that off. And I know that a lot of people don't want to subscribe to that. Well, if I have to read I'm not a book person, so that doesn't really count as Star Wars. I'm sorry. Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. It's all Star Wars. And so while it's not maybe your part of Star Wars.
Sure. Yeah.
It's still something that for us, we need the break or the slower times too, to try to catch up on some things that we want to take more time and be more diligent about. Not that they're thinking about that, but that's how they plan this stuff out. They want to have this sustained, really high-end quality product that goes throughout the year, that just like they do with Marvel, where it doesn't feel like there's a lot of gaps and you do move from one thing to the next, but it feels like there's some diversity to it. It's not the same story all the time. It's not so heavy. You get some levity, you get some fun type of stories, but you also get some serious ones. You get some for different age groups. And so I think the books are a huge part of that.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's not TV. It's not movies.
It's not movies.
Like
I get it. Yeah.
And I think that's what we're missing. I think it's that having that flagship product of a movie is what's just giving people fodder for saying that Star Wars is a dumpster fire with planning and in the leadership and all of that stuff. And I'm sorry, we've gotten really good quality product. So I'm not willing to say anything remotely close to that because
it's not true.
It's just not true. Yeah. And they're completely kidding themselves if they think that that's true.
Right. Yeah. And the happy ending to that story about us looking back as we realized, oh, wait a minute. There really aren't. I mean, it felt like it felt worse than it actually was. And when you really look at it, there's things that we're getting that weren't announced then that I would never have thought we would have gotten, like a season 2 of Andor, Bad Batch season 2, Tales of the Jedi is something we just talked about, right? So,
and we didn't know about Book of Boba Fett. Skeleton Crew. We didn't know about Book of Boba Fett at the time. And really, the two major things I could think of off the top of my head that have been seemingly completely canned are Rogue Squadron and Rangers of the New Republic.
Correct.
So it's really 2. Although Acolyte has been quiet and a bit slow to get started, we know it's in at least pre-production, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
So that's still moving. Ahsoka is still moving. Like you said, we've got other seasons of these shows that haven't premiered or they have premiered, and we're going to get more of them later on. So we know the funnel is there. Right. Is it as full as we want it to be? Is it in the film area? It doesn't appear like they don't know quite what to do yet in that space.
Well, you know what? We don't need to do the Patreon show now. We just did it.
Yeah, no. I can live off the TV series stuff, to be honest with you. If it's of the quality that we want it to. I don't necessarily need movies, I don't think.
I don't know. Do you? I need movies.
I mean, I want movies. But if push came to shove, if it was just too much to get a movie made with the right story and the stories aren't coming together, okay, well, give me the stuff you can do that's going to be good.
Yeah, it's like bottled beer for you, right? You'd rather go to the pub, get it off the tap, right? That's an experience. But can you stay home and buy like a 6-pack of Natty Light?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, sure. Fine.
Oh, Natty Light. I don't know about that. Michelob Ultra, maybe.
You get what I'm saying? It's like,
well, yeah, and
bottled beer is fine. It's not off the tap, but you know what?
And you know what? Some beer you can't go get from the tap because it comes from overseas. So you have to get in a bottle, and you enjoy it wherever you enjoy it, however you can enjoy
however
it.
you can. You're just thankful that you have beer.
Well, you have good beer.
Good
I
beer.
like where your head's at, though. I give you an A- for effort, Albert.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, shout outs. Yeah, shout outs. Jonathan, Jorge, Sky, Stephanie, Justin, Lauren, everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you are listening to this, we do have a live stream, cantinacast.com/YouTube. We are coming back to you on Sunday to do our live listener Q&A. Like I said, we've got over a dozen questions already in and ready for us, so we would love to continue to add to that. Cantinacast.com/question is how you can submit those to us. So again, cantinacast.com/question, and I'll keep that open here for, through Saturday and maybe even early Sunday, depending on how many are coming through. So thank you for those who have sent us messages. If you're a Patreon member, remember you are guaranteed to have your question read and answered on there.
And next week we'll be back with a whole lot of Andor. So get ready because we're down to the wire. It's next week, man. Can't even believe it.
A whole lot of Andor.
A whole lot of Andor going on. And it's going to be a Wednesday. It's like, what? I don't know
what
time
back
to go to
Wednesdays?
bed.
Oh, yeah. I don't know either.
It's going to be like 5 a.m. for me. So I'm just going to call in.
Just don't even need to sleep anymore.
Yeah.
Well, like you told me, you sleep when you're dead.
Sleep when you're dead.
Yeah. Or call in dead so you can watch Star Wars.
Call in dead. All right. We are going to get out of here. We'll see you guys in a few days for the Q&A show. Looking forward to that one.
You're still listening? Wow. That's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.